Major international news agencies, including AFP, AP, and Reuters, and the BBC are urging Israel to allow journalists in and out of Gaza, citing growing fears for the safety and survival of their staff. In a joint statement, they warned that local reporters face not only the dangers of war, but now also the threat of starvation. With Gaza under total blockade, foreign journalists are barred from entering, and those inside face worsening conditions. Over 200 journalists have been killed since the conflict began in October 2023, according to Reports Without Borders. AFP has highlighted the dire plight of its staff in Gaza, many of whom are struggling to feed their families. The agency has managed to evacuate some employees, but many remain trapped. Meanwhile, Israel accuses Hamas of exploiting aid and manipulating reporting, while international watchdogs say journalism in Gaza is at risk of extinction. Now we are joined by Ali M. Abushbak. He's a Middle East researcher joining us live from Cairo. Now, with more than 200 journalists killed since the conflict began and growing concerns for those still trapped in Gaza, what steps should the international community take to protect press freedom and ensure the safety of journalists in conflict zones, particularly when access to information is severely restricted, according to you, Ali?
Thank you, Suma. The thing is, there is no freedom of press in Gaza during the beginning of the Israelis' war in Gaza. So it's over more than 200 journalists have been killed, and more than 300 civilian of journalists has been assassinated by Israel, and any deliberately targeted by Israelis airstrike, and threatening the civilians who's leaking the information from ground about their active, as well as Israel have been also with Meta company and other social media companies. They are shut down the Palestinians' social media accounts that it's suppressed the Palestinians' voice. So the thing is also Israel doesn't allow for the foreigner news agency to let in Gaza and to cover the situation, a miserable situation in Gaza, while the international community protect the journalists to work during the war and to protect them for recording and covering the situation from the ground. So Israel is acting like above the international community and the morale of international community, targeting the civilian as well as the journalists. And we have witnessed several of journalists killed during the live stream. So that's it's referred to the how Israel acting and treating with every Palestinian, either they are armed or unarmed, and claiming that they are a participator in and they are a member with the Palestinian militant group. And this is a fake news and propaganda, justifying their killing and justifying the bloodshed of the journalists. It's unacceptable because they are covering the situation and they are showing what is happening on the ground. And the main question is why Israel, with every war in Gaza or round of conflict, doesn't let the journalists or foreign journalists to cover the situation on the ground. We have witnessed in 2008 and 2012 and 2014, 2021. So Israel deliberately targeting any voice sharing the information from the ground and any voice telling the truth about the suffering of the civilians and the casualties on the ground. So I guess the Associated Press urge to let their foreign journalists to enter and cover the situation in Gaza, that maybe make Israel in embarrassed situation, because when they will cover and they will see the horrific of the war and the starve of the people, especially, and we are talking about the journalists who faint and fell down during their covering situation because of the famine in Gaza, and they are suffering from the hunger during their coverage, the situation and the miserable situation on the ground.
And Ali, now, while international watchdogs warn of the risk of journalism's extinction, how do you balance the need for secure reporting in war zones with the concerns over the potential for biased or manipulated coverage?
Osuma, that's the significant question. Why Israel doesn't let the foreign journalists to cover the situation, and will be definitely objective. They will not be subjective like the Palestinian journalists to cover the situation, because they belong to this area and they are have aware about the suffering. So maybe they will call it subjective coverage of the situation on the ground by doesn't let the international journalists and foreign journalists to cover the situation. It's a huge question. First, second, Israel is targeting everyone. And we have watching the kitchen war, the kitchen war in Gaza. Israel targeting several of them, and also in UNRWA and also United Nations faculties. They are targeting everyone who's working in Gaza. It's not only about the journalists. It's about also the human rights institution. It's about also the service of, sharing the food for the people, like a charity, kitchen charity. Israel have been targeting several of kitchen charity in Gaza. So that's make it more miserable. Israel is acting like above of the international law, above of the morale of war. So which make it more complicated, the situation on the ground. While the people who's the only suffering, the people who are the only casualties of this war, civilians who's unarmed people who's the only casualties in this war between Israel and Hamas.
Thank you very much, Ali Abushbak, for always letting us know what's happening on the ground all the way